Hey, is this thing on? There might be a couple of people here. Hi, it's early. Doing earlier stream than usual. I'm just getting my day started. But as I said, more streams from the shop. That's one of the things I want to do in the coming year is try and get more eyeballs. And the build streams are always probably the most popular thing, I think. Maybe neck and neck with the Oracle episodes, but the build streams tend to get good views both live and on the VOD. So we're going to do more of them. Um, and so the philosophy for that is I'm just going to do my daily work, like what I would be usually doing anyway. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go live and stream while doing it, and also have a little chat. I'm having my coffee. This is the last of my morning coffee. I split my coffee into two batches, and one batch goes in a thermos, and that's for the afternoon. And then this is the cup number three for the morning. So I'm getting started a little bit later than I usually do, just because I wanted to stream, so I had do a little prep for that. But hopefully that will get a bit easier as time goes on, and I'll just be able to like get up and hit the button, or not quite get up and hit the button because nobody wants to see me before I've had a cup of coffee, for example. So it's very quiet. I'm not playing. I'm not even playing my own music. And I'm not playing any music on the stream because Facebook, as we've talked about before, Facebook always, always mutes in some regions if there's any music at all playing, even if it's Creative Commons license. There's nobody, well, I mean, there's nobody working at Facebook Gaming anymore. It's all bots. So bots just auto mute all music because they don't care. There's no if you're on Facebook Gaming, I don't know who is, but if you're on Facebook Gaming streaming, just go elsewhere. Start your own thing. I don't know, but Facebook Gaming is not even a thing. Like live streaming to Facebook, not even really a thing. I think I may get a couple of viewers. That's why we keep doing it. Um, and also, like as I talked about before, I want more eyeballs. So just putting myself in more places where there are eyeballs is probably a good plan. So I'm not going to leave platforms, but Facebook live streaming is just bad, and there's nobody watching the shop over there. So, no. Anyway, start the morning with the Facebook rant. Welcome to the internet. There might be some people here. So what are we doing today? I want to sort of give people a chance to sort of wake up and realize that I'm streaming and get a chance to get in here because it's kind of a special project today. It's always a special project. I'm a little hoarse already. I don't know what's going on. I should be fine, but you know. Um, mm. Coffee is good. I'm not as snappy with the banter as I usually am because it's so early. Also, there's nobody here, so I'm probably not talking to anybody. But that's okay. The VODs also get good views. So if you're watching on the VOD, hello. If you're not, if you are live, there might be a couple of people here. Sometimes that number is funny. Sometimes it counts like because I've got a browser open to the chat. Sometimes that counts as a view. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. So one of those eyeballs might just be me. So I have no idea. Anyway, hi. So yeah, the oh, Travis. I ate a pretty pony indeed. Yes. Well, I hope you're well, Travis. Thank you. Zed Dave is building your full-time profession. It is. This is what I do for a living. I have a home-based business, and I make professional hand puppets, and I sell them. You most of the on my shop on operationpuppet.com. I used to sell on Etsy quite a bit, but I've moved to my own shop since then. And I also have clients who come to me. A little horse as well. Oh, I missed the joke entirely. Thank you, Travis. Thank you for clarifying because it's morning and I'm not finished my third cup of coffee yet. Hey, JB, how you doing? Nice to see you. Thank you for padding my numbers. See, there, already the number is wrong because the number says two and there's at least three people chatting. So I have no idea. Who knows? Nobody knows. Numbers, what are they? Um, so yes, I am a professional puppet builder by trade. I'm going into my third year of doing this full time. Is it lucrative? No. Are there months where I am kind of struggling? Yep, absolutely. But it is also the best job I have ever had. I would not think of changing it for the world now. It is enough to, let me get by, and I love what I do. So it's the best possible thing. So yeah. So today, I don't know. I'm waiting for somebody specific to show up and chat if they can. I don't know if they're available or not, but because I'm building for a specific client today who might be able to show up and chat. Maybe they'll show up a bit later. But I wanted to start talking about the build when they were here, just because it'd be nice for them to see. But then again, there's always the VOD. Um, the other best possible thing is that there are people that love what you do too. That is also true. Well, that's the other side of the coin, and that's what I was just talking about a minute ago. Is like, it's not a one-way thing. It's like it needs to be an audience. It doesn't have to be a big audience, but there needs to be an audience. And I was looking at some numbers this morning, and they weren't. They were okay. I mean, it's always about scale, right? Like, this is never going to be huge, and it's not supposed to be. And also, like, I was just looking at things like, the retention numbers on video and like how many people watch for how long, and it's like the Frankie Play VODs not good, but that's not surprising. Who's going to sit there and watch a 2 hour VOD of a video game? Like, that makes sense. The build stream archives get much better long-term views, but I just want to like try and reach more people because what I do isn't. This is why I don't. I was on TikTok for about 5 minutes, then I went, I cannot do this because it's all short attention span, little viral snippet things, right? And I don't do that. That's not what I'm good at. I do long form stuff. As you can tell already, we're in long form. It's because I'm yakking and chatting, but that's what I like to do. It's what I'm okay at, and so there is an audience for that. It's just harder to find those people. So it's going to take longer. It's going to take more effort. Um, and it's going to take you out there telling people about this. I don't know. I'm bad at marketing. I'm very, very bad at marketing. So as you can tell, anyway, so the point is I'm going to be doing this kind of thing more often. And what I'm going to be doing is just my daily work. So what is today's daily work? Trying to get on track. Um, if I seem distracted, I am because as I always talk about, there's a daycare outside. I don't even know if you can hear that. Probably not. Um, but they're very, very loud, and they're currently like singing to the children, which sounds nice, but they're not good at it. So it's just this harsh, screechy, bad noise, and also there's construction, and because I live in the middle of a city, so Um, so yes, I'm a bit distracted, but we got to focus. Coffee. That's what coffee's for. Jamie says, "Get out there with Gerbert and hit them with Rainbow Connection." No, 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 no. Thank you, Travis. Travis says, I do appreciate your art and time. It's nice to virtually hang out with another builder. Being a builder can kind of be a lonely thing. It's true. You're right. Travis is another builder, but the Travis Making Friends, I believe your company is called, on Facebook. I know for sure. I'm not sure where else you are, but if you want to, I think you should be able to drop a link in chat if you want. I don't know if it will, if some bot, I don't even know how many bots are hooked up, so who knows. By all means, if you want to drop a link in chat, go ahead, or try, and we'll see what happens. Um, yeah, Travis is another builder. But yeah, it is nice to be able, and this is one of the things I think about the build streams in general. It's valuable for people because I've talked about this before, but when I did the BJ Geyer courses on the Stan Winston School, I already knew quite a lot of what the specifics of what BJ was teaching, but the really valuable thing was just watching another builder work. and learning how they handle things. And also, I mean, because BJ is like super duper professional, understanding how a professional thinks through a problem, right? That was incredibly valuable, and that's what kind of gave me the confidence to kind of go, you know what, I can do this for real. Um, I owe that all to taking BJ's courses. So if I can help somebody else achieve that, that's a good thing. That's, I'm passing on the good vibes kind of thing. So that's the objective for all of this. So I guess we'll go forward because I don't think the individual I'm waiting for is available. So today's build. Oh, I should probably show what I finished yesterday. Hang on. Before we get to that, I did some. These are, excuse me standing up. I'll just get one of them down. Um, had a client commission yesterday that I finished for these. It's two of these guys. So I have a standard model called Sonk puppets, which are very very simple. They were my lowest end model. They're kind of to want to get your feet wet, want to try puppeteering. This is a good model to go with because they're inexpensive, they're easy to perform, there's no arms or anything. So it's just a mouth that opens and closes, very much like a sock puppet. Hence the name. But these are variations on those. I had a client who wants for some Christmas presents, so I hope that whoever is going to receive these isn't watching the stream or the VOD. Wanted some song puppets with arms. So we got, hello, I'm a song puppet, but I have arms, which is weird, but that's okay. His eye focus is a bit off. There we go. Again, I'm working as I'm puppeteering, not a good thing. But yeah, we've got some song puppets with arms. There's two of these. I won't get the other one down because it'll be a bit much. But yeah, these turned out better than I expected. I have done song puppets with arms before, but never quite like this, and never with the pointy nose version. I have a blunt nose version as well, but these are the newer pointy nose versions, and I like them a lot. It's pretty good. So yeah, it's these are fairly quick and easy to make, and I hope it makes somebody very happy at Christmas time. So that was yesterday's project. Today, what are we doing? Caveman Gonzo. Yeah, good analogy. Um, so one thing that occasionally happens, aha, Fox and Wolf Crafts. Thank you. Hello. Good morning. One thing that occasionally happens, and this is one of the nicer parts of doing what I do. It's all nice. It's mostly nice. It's not entirely nice, but there's mostly nice things. Among the nice things is I will get clients coming to me who want me to either build or rebuild their signature character. That's happened a couple times, and that's always really special because, any performer, puppeteering or acting or anything like that, anyone who creates a character, that character, if they're true, is very personal to that person. And so when somebody comes to me and says, I want you to build my signature character, that's a really, that I take that seriously. That's an honor to do that. And that's what I'm doing today. So, noted puppet streamer, Dorak. Let me get a picture up here. You may recognize this face from Twitch. That's Dorak. That's the current version of Dorak. Dorak's manager, shall we say, has come to me and asked me to rebuild Dorak. It's time for a refresh. So that's what I'm starting on today. Now, the original Dorak here was built by Luna's Puppets. Kevin Gorby of Luna's Puppets, very well-known puppet builder, excellent. Built the first version of Frankie for the Oracle as well. But Dorak's manager wants to go in a slightly different direction and has asked me to do a rebuild and redesign, basically, of Dorak. Not too much of a redesign because obviously we want to keep Dorak looking like Dorak, but I also, I'm not going to like steal somebody else's design. And this is definitely, you look at a Luna's puppet, you can tell it's a Luna's puppet. Then that's definitely a Luna's puppet. But one of the goals is to make Dorak a bit smaller and lighter, because the current version of Dorak is a bit big and heavy, and which is always a bad thing for a puppet. So we want to try and go smaller and lighter. And that's one thing that I really have tried to specialize in. So that's what we're starting on today, is the Dorak rebuild. So I don't really have a plan. There are a couple of things that we need to do to start out with. So I already have existing patterns, and that's one of the things about these build streams is I've decided I'm gonna like chill about showing patterns on stream. It's like sometimes I'm gonna have to, just to do my daily work, I have to show the patterns on stream. Don't steal patterns, no matter what. Don't do it. It's really easy to make patterns. I have a whole video series showing how to make patterns. You don't need to steal patterns. Nobody ever needs to steal a pattern. And if you do, and here's the other thing about stealing patterns. And I mean, when I say stealing, I mean like, screenshotting a pattern, and then he really does have the goblin ear, so that makes that easy. True. Although I think I'm going to do custom ears for Dorak. Dorak's going to be a lot of custom stuff, actually. But anyway, as I was saying, if you plan on going anywhere in this field, and there are some people, there's always new people coming on. If you plan to make a living, or even a small business, or even supplemental income or anything, if you plan to do this professionally, don't steal. The one way you're gonna like stop that from ever happening is to steal patterns, because I guarantee you we will find out. Like, I only found out that somebody nicked one of my designs because another builder alerted me to it. I wouldn't have never seen it if I hadn't. It's a fairly small, fairly tight-knit group of people, and we'll find out. And if you have a reputation for stealing other people's patterns, you're never gonna get very far. You're never gonna work professionally. So don't do it, and you don't need to do it. But that's my little caveat. I am going to show patterns on stream. In fact, one of the things I have to do today is alter a pattern that I have that is one of my oldest and most used patterns. You know what? They're all simple. Like, nothing I have is very complex, and everything I have is easy to do. So just do your thing. You can figure it out, I promise. So the first thing I got to do when I look at Dorak here, so again, we're going smaller and lighter. I have standard patterns for like, furry live hands monsters, which is what Dorak is. But Dorak, because of the fangs, Dorak has a very pronounced overbite. And what I don't have is specifically a pattern for that. My usual live hands monsters have a disarticulated jaw, so the jaw and the top of the skull aren't connected. It's just fabric, so the jaw is nice and loose, and that makes it nice to perform. That's not going to be really a thing we can do with Dorak, because of we have to maintain that overbite, right? So we need the jaw to be fixed, and yet we also want it to be loose enough that it's easy to perform. So I have to make a new skull pattern for Dorak, and we are going to do it in two pieces, but we're going to connect them. And the other thing is, the new Dorak is going to have an eyebrow mech, and to do that, we either need to build a structure inside the head, or you need to make the foam thick. I always go for the thick foam thing because it's just easier. But because of that, I'm going to use inch thick foam. I always use inch thick foam when I'm doing an eyebrow rig on the top of the skull. But for the bottom of the skull, we don't want it that thick. It's just too much bulk. So we're going to do the top of the skull in inch thick foam, and the bottom of the skull, like the jaw, in half inch. But we have to now connect those two together. And so that's the pattern that I have to make to start with, is that overbite in two pieces with the top and bottom connected, and the top is going to be inch thick and the bottom is going to be half inch thick. So that's where we're starting. So I got to get I have not prepped for this at all. This is just me doing what I do. So it's going to be a bit sloppier than usual, but I'm going to finish my coffee and then we're going to get started, because I got to get my patterns out. So But yeah, so looking at Dorak, I've already alerted. I believe Danny is the name of Dorak's manager. I've already alerted that there are going to be some design changes, not just because my patterns are different, obviously, but because like I'm just not. It's just not done to copy somebody else's design. So I'm not copying the existing Dorak. This is going to be a new version of Dorak, much like when I rebuilt Frankie from the Luna's version of Frankie. I did a whole bunch of redesigns. So that you cannot mistake the current Frankie for the old Frankie. I wasn't just copying what was done before. I did have a lot of design input on the original Frankie as well. So yeah, weight savings is the big thing. That really kind of is the big thing with this. Danny also has another character, Gob. Gob is a goblin, and newer, stronger, younger character. Yes. And I built. Danny had commissioned me to build Gob specifically, and once he tried that and realized how much lighter Gob was than Dorak, is like, ooh, okay, yeah, maybe a new Dorak is in the works. So that's where we're going. Thankfully, I already have some mouth plates cut out. I always cut them in batches. I use wooden mouth plates, 1/8 inch plywood, birch plywood, which is it's light, it's strong, it's really nice to work with. It takes glue really well. So that's usually what I do for any of the larger puppets that don't require a flexible mouth plate. That's what I use. Um, so yeah, we got to do that pattern for the skull. So we're also going to do an eyebrow rig. So I got a whole bunch of prep to do for that. I don't want to lose. One of the things about the eyebrow rig is the eyes get pretty close together. I mean, my standard eyebrow rig. Um, and I don't want to lose that separation between the eyes entirely because it's much easier to do like a unibrow kind of thing than it is to do two discrete brows like Dorak has. But I'm going to try and get there. I've already alerted Danny to the fact that the eyes are going to definitely be closer together and may end up with more of a unibrow than this, but we'll see what we can do. So that's the challenge after I do the skull pattern is to sort of play around with the eyebrow rig and see if I can get the eyes a little bit wider apart. I think I can. It's conceptually it's not difficult. It's just practically. I actually have a question to pose to you for some time. My upper mouth plate on my goblin finger holder broke. How would you fix that? So, good question. Um, One thing that you kind of just have to accept is that puppets will break. And when they break, they have to be fixed. And really, the only way to fix it, it depends on how it was put together. Is this something you built, or is this something you purchased from me or somebody else? It actually will depend. Um, if you're who I think you are on the Discord, maybe I know what you're talking. Maybe you did build this yourself. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Oh, I built this. Oh dear. Oh no. I'm sorry about that. But it is a fact of life. Things like that do happen. So, oh, I built it. You designed it. Oh, I got you. Okay, so you used my goblin pattern. Gotcha. Okay. Um, so the only thing you can really do is basically unmake it. You have to pop the stitches. I mean, since you're in the head, there should be a seam up the back. I don't know how if you've got hair, if you've attached the hair or something, but you're gonna have to open it up somehow. Um, Open up those stitches carefully so it's not too much of a ragged edge. And on the foam, where the foam is connected, just take a razor blade and cut it and open it up as much as you need, but not too much, obviously. And make your repair and then just close it up and ladder stitch it closed from the outside. That's really the only way to do it. This is why a lot of professional puppets are when you build them, you kind of go, okay, how if I have to get back into this thing, how am I going to do it? And you kind of build it with that in mind, so you don't do things like permanently attach the hair because that's going to have to come off if you need to repair it, right? So, unfortunately, sometimes you just can't. The other thing, it depends on how it broke as well. I don't know how you made your finger loop. But it really depends on how you attached it to the mouse blade. So let me know what you did, how you made a finger loop, and I might be able to advise you a bit better there. But yeah, it's unfortunately there's no easy answer. It is just open it up and fix it. Uh, but try and do it in such a way that you're doing it all in the back. So if you have to make a join, um, then you can repair it easily. But ladder stitching is your friend for closing it up. I hope that helps. I know it's not the answer you wanted probably, but it is just the truth. It's like sometimes you just got to unmake the thing you've made. Unrelated question: would you ever design make a whatnot style puppet with changeable facial features? Absolutely. The problem there is it's it's really like a time versus how much can I charge for that. So it would take not much longer to make something finished. But you can, for a whatnot style puppet, I wouldn't want to charge that much for it. And then I still have to do all of the work. Like I have to make all of the pieces. I have to make the eyes and the nose and stuff. The only thing I'm not doing is attaching them, and attaching them takes no time at all. But I couldn't charge, it wouldn't seem right to charge like, $500 for a whatnot versus a finished, puppet. Um, and even though it's almost the same amount of time has been spent on it, so it's always a time versus money situation, right? I try to keep my costs as down as reasonable, but that's why you only ever see those whatnot style, anything Muppet style things in like larger companies because they have, production lines. They can churn them out fast. Me, I'm not. I'm more bespoke. I'm kind of part way because I have standard models, and I don't do a lot of custom stuff. But yeah, they can eat the cost exactly, and I can't. So I'd be spending the same amount of time to make something that I could only charge half the cost for. So I'd end up working for nothing. Is what it comes down to. So, not a good business model that turns out. They'll make a versatile background character, but I get that. Yeah, oh, absolutely. And it's not a bad idea. It's just that, like, can I come up with a production? This is the key to all this is can I come up with a way of making the thing that is time effective, right? So like I spend a lot of time prototyping, um, specifically with an eye towards being able to build quickly. So that way I can make 2 or 3 puppets in a week, which is pretty darn fast. Um, but but I don't have to spend a lot of time in the design stage, and that's why I turn down a lot of jobs that are like, "Oh, can you build my original character?" It's like, yes, but not for any amount of money that you could, think about. And this is why professional puppets from big studios are expensive because they're supposed to be. People are working full time on this. But, that's it's just an unfortunate financial reality. But that's one of the things I try and work around when it comes to like my standard shop models. I try and make them as basic and flexible design wise, so I have a lot of options. So if somebody wants a custom whatever, like a custom, well, the song puppets with arms are a really good example of that. That's not something I made in that way before, but it was easy to do because I already had the patterns. I already had like the processes down. So my client who has worked with me before could come to me and go, okay, I would like this with this feature. And it's like, yep, no problem. Yeah, basic equation, time equals money. And that's it. Since I'm the only person here doing this, this again, in the future, I would really like to expand. I'd like to actually have a real shop, not just a room in my apartment. But, we'll see. We'll see. Nobody knows what the future holds. Um, there may in fact be a future wherein that's a possibility. So who knows? But before we get there, how long have we been going? Half an hour already. I haven't even started working yet. Okay. This day is flying by. Last of the coffee is gone. We have to get to work now. There's no more coffee. Let's go to the top cam. Okay, good. There we go. That I didn't adjust my camera balances. I'm afraid I'm a little blown out. Story of my life. So the first thing I gotta do is make that pattern alteration. Actually, the first thing I'm gonna do is have some gum. Pardon me. But grab my patterns here. So what I'm gonna do, you'll find more coffee. I already got more coffee in reserve. That's already a plan. I'm basically gonna marry two patterns that I already have. So this very, very thick package is all of my Live Hands Monster patterns. And this is the Conehead variant, which is fairly new, but this is just a skull and fleece pattern. Oh, yeah, right. I haven't seen finished Gus yet. I don't know if I should show him on stream. You got to, if you want to see the finished Gus, join the Discord. Ha ha ha. But the one of the differences is this one, the regular Live Hands Monster is all it's all they're all these variants have a separate skull, top of the skull and jaw. The cone heads do have a joined skull and jaw, and these have a pronounced overbite, whereas these ones don't. So I'm going to take the bottom of this pattern and marry it to the top of this pattern, and we should get there for Dorak. So because the mouth plates on these are the same diameter, so again, thinking ahead, how can I reproduce these quickly and easily? So you have like standard sizes, for example. So my mouth plates are all standard sizes. I decided what those sizes would be, but now that I've got that, it's fairly easy. So grab some cardstock here. I'm going to need a couple of these. So we've got to do two patterns. We've got to do one for the skull and one for the skin, fur. So I won't have to do new mouth plate patterns because I've already got correctly sized mouth plate patterns. So this is just the skull and the skin. So I'm going to start with the bottom. Start with the jaw. So here is my standard conehead. Iron fabric. Sorry, wrong one. This is why I labeled things. That looked like it was foam. This isn't for foam. This is for fur. Prototype 1. That's not the one. Here we go. That's the one. The puppet will desire to consume mass quantities, exactly. Good old Saturday Night Live reference. That's for the olds. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to trace a little bit of this, but this, I won't need this circle bit in the finished product, but I'm going to trace it anyway. I'm just tracing my old pattern, that's all. But only the bottom part of it. Now this circle cutout, I've talked about this before, but this sort of semicircle is for if you're doing different types of foam. If you're making the skull out of reticulated foam, which can be kind of stiff and plasticky, you do the cheek cutout in a softer foam, and that helps with performance. In this case, I'm doing Dorak all in upholstery foam, and since the bottom jaw is going to be 1/2 inch and the top of the skull is going to be inch. That that will do what this does anyway. It will still be a nice loose jaw. So I don't need the circle cut out for Dorak. So we'll just extend these to complete mouth. Just so we know. Just get rid of this, since this is Dorak specific. I'll probably use this for more than just Dorak eventually, but it's nice to have a pattern like this with a fixed overbite. So there's the bottom. Grab my other one here, which is the flat round head. I got a lot of patterns in here. There's Frankie's hand. You want to see Frankie's hand? Daniel, hello. Nice to see you. It's what I'm doing. Looking for my patterns. Here we go. Oh boy. Yeah, it's true. It's true. We are doing Dora. I don't know if you probably just joined in. I did talk about the build. So watch the VOD, the first part, because I talk a lot about Dorak. Um, so here we go. So you see, all I'm doing is I'm just taking the old pattern and laying it in. The new one is and just tracing where this should go. So what this will do is give us the nice flat head, but also give us the pronounced overbite that we need for Dorak. Yes, Daniel in chat here is the manager of Dorak, shall we say. So you get to watch the whole process here. We're just starting. So here's Dorak's skull. If you ever wanted to see Dorak's skull, now well, I guess you probably have. You've at least felt Dorak's skull. So there we go. That's basically it. So after this, I'm going to cut this out, and then we're going to make the fabric pattern from that. Also using my existing patterns as a base to build off of. So let me grab my junk scissors, because this is cardboard. But what this should do is give us a nice round, flattish head and the pronounced overbite, so Dorak's fangs will sit properly. Oh, you know what? Before I do this, I'm going to mark from here to here, and we're going to do this in two pieces, right? We're going to do the bottom jaw here is going to be 1/2 inch, and the top is going to be 1 inch, and that will support the eyebrow rig. Important. You don't want to do the whole thing at a 1 inch because it'll be too stiff. Although I did order some 1 inch foam recently, and I got more than I realized I got. So I have a lot of 1 inch foam. A lot. I got to think of something to do with it, because the only thing I do with 1 inch foam is the top of the skull of Live Hands Monsters with Bleak Mix. So, I guess I got to do a lot of those. Big old dart. All right, so there's the base. I'm not gonna cut this in two just yet, because we want to build or trace this for the uh, fur pattern. And what I always do, and what tends to, I mean, I don't know if I should do this or not. I don't know if there's a reason not to, but so far this has worked for me. When I have a skull pattern I like, um, to make the fabric, I just make the same pattern but slightly bigger and not, of course, the mouth. The mouth you want the same size, or if there's a lip, you want it slightly smaller. But for this, it's like I just make it slightly bigger because fur doesn't have much stretch, so you want it to be able to cover it without putting too much compression on it. So that's really just kind of it. So we're just gonna trace this. You see what I mean, though, when I say don't steal patterns, what's the point? This isn't difficult. Do I sound frustrated? Now, I'm not going to trace the the neck opening here because we want to extend that and put an actual fabric neck, right? So we've got that. This is just tracing of the current pattern. So all I'm going to do, I'm not going to make this line or this line any bigger because this is already the width that we need. We don't want this to get any bigger or smaller. But I am going to give, I don't know, maybe a 1/4 inch on the outside here. And all we're going to do is just taper that in. And this should give us enough room. You could use a seam gauge for this. I'm just eyeballing it. Fur is very forgiving, so you don't really need super accuracy for this. This must be really cool. I mean, I was just imagining it from Daddy's perspective, but it must be really cool to like just see it from the very beginning here, right? And of course, we want extra room, top and bottom. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I'm at the point now where I can kind of eyeball this thing. It's when you're starting out, definitely measure everything. Um, Practice does make perfect. Perfect. Don't chase perfection, kids. You'll never catch it. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take the fabric pattern for my standard live hands monster, and as you can see, it's been altered a few times. I've done this a bunch, right? And we're just gonna make our neck because I know this neck is the body is my standard pattern, so this neck is the right width for my standard pattern. So we're just gonna kind of lay this in and go, all right, well, see, that's off the end of the paper. That's okay. We can sort that out. You can't always plan for these things. That'll be all right. And then after this, we're gonna make the skull. This to be a bit wider, and then this can taper down to the same width. This will be good enough. The neck on my standard live hands monsters are a little bit longer than what I really need. I just like to give myself a little bit of room to play, but this will be fine. So there we go. There's Dorak's skin, head skin. I'm going to cut this out. What I haven't done, maybe I should, I don't know if I should do this live on stream. I haven't actually opened, I ordered the fur a while ago for Dorak, but I haven't actually opened the package yet. I've just had no place to put it. My storage has been so full. I should probably make sure that the fur is okay and it's the right color and everything. I haven't actually done that yet. Imagine music or listen to your own. Mix it and post, yeah. Well, unfortunately, the only place I can get very specific furs is a place in the States, and they take weeks to get here. So I do have to plan ahead for this kind of thing. Okay, here we go. If only you could color correct in real life. So this is Dorak, Goal, Dorak. No, unfortunately, there's no place I found that's local. Fabricville.c or .com, which is relatively local. They just started carrying the occasional bits of faux fur, and the problem is they don't get it reliably. They don't get colors specific. They just have whatever they have in the quantities that they have it. But that is why I made Gus with the gusto that I did, because just to see what the quality was like, I ordered some gray, and because that's what they had in stock, and it turns out it's pretty darn good, not expensive, and I ended up with like 4 yards of it, so I still got a ton of gray. Among the reasons why I rebuilt Gus. Unfortunately, they don't have, like I said, they don't have specific colors in specific quantities. So I just gotta, whenever I see it, I gotta order it because they're not getting it reliably. So unfortunately, no. Yeah, particularly here in Canada, there's really no good place for faux fur. And believe me, I have looked. I would love for there to be a local place that's good for fur, but nope. Fleece, yes. Fur, no. So Dorak skin, and now we're gonna cut the skull in half. That's a terrible phrase. And there we go. So there's Dorak's skull in 2 bits. Um, and this will be inch thick, and this will be half-inch thick. You know what? Let's do that now. I'm now curious. I want to make sure that the fur is okay. I do have a bunch of red still, but I'm almost sure I don't have enough for a whole Dorak. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. Wrong one. I have very specific places I put my various scissors. Uh, and if I do it wrong, it really throws me off. Oh, look, there's an errant pattern that I left from working yesterday. Told you I wasn't prepared. It's true, Daniel. Some people don't quite get it. And we call those people sad. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do it live, opening up a package from Fabric Empire to see the fur. I wonder what camera will be best. Maybe this one, probably. Let me just set the new Dorak aside here. Boy, this is extremely unprofessional. I'm sorry, Daniel. I really should have checked this beforehand. But here we go. This is what it looks like when a bag of fur comes in. We're playing board games with what? Video games with what? Yes, exactly. So obviously when I order fur, I don't order just the one that I need. I try and save it up and order a bunch at the same time. So I got a few colors in here. You can see the one on top already looks pretty good. If we can carefully not do any damage to the actual fur. And that's set this aside. You play with puppets as an adult? Yes. Okay, here we go. So the first, wow, there's a lot of this. How much did I order? Oh, they've packed it up really tight as well. They've packed it in a weird way. Okay, so I got this nice alpaca brown. This is pretty good stuff. I like this. Purple cheesecake zebra. Hello. I'm not sure what time of day it is. Actually, it's probably what evening for you. Good evening. So that's good. This is I've run out of my brown. This is what I do a lot of eyebrows out of. So this will be that's what this is for. So here's the stuff that I ordered specifically for Dorak. Because Dorak's red that I can see isn't a super bright red. Now I know the colors are different in all of the cameras. Um, this is pretty good though. I like this a lot. This is a nice. It's a bit muted, but late afternoon. All right, good to know. Let me see this camera. Let's go here. This is probably the most color accurate camera. So, Daniel, if you could tell me if you like this color, that would be great because this is what I had planned to use for Dorak. If you want something brighter, not impossible, but I would have to order it special. Yeah, this camera here. This is just a webcam, so the colors are kind of crappy and muted. It's a nice rusty red. I quite like it. So if that's good with you, it looks awesome. Okay, good stuff. Um, so there we go. Live client consultation. But yeah, this is definitely enough to make Dorak. What else did I get? I don't even remember what I ordered. Oh, right. Oh, this is fun. Yeah, hot pink. You got some hot pink. I do have plans for this, actually. This is going to be another original character for the show. And that's all I want to say about that because I don't want to spill the beans. That's some hot pink, though. You don't need drag queens who want an outfit. I can help. And also a color I've never got before, this kind of bright orange. Phenomenal, yeah. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but I've never actually got this specific color before. So wow, the colors on the cameras are so completely different. Unbelievable. As a video guy, I should be ashamed. Here's what the orange actually looks like. Yes, that's much closer to IRL. It's pretty nice. I like it. Yeah, this camera here, boy, that's not. This looks more tangerine in this camera. That's free carrot. Yeah, there we go. This camera does not have accurate colors. None of the cameras you are currently looking at has accurate colors. I guess actually this camera here is the closest to reality. Bleach job Chewbacca, yeah. Of course, now that I've got these all out, I have no place to put them yet. I have to make some room, so I'm just gonna like plop them over here in the corner. Yeah, that pink's pretty pink. That is the pinkest pink. It's infra pink. Dorax. And the brown. There's Chewbacca right there. Yay. Well, that was fun. Ugh. Let's see if I can throw that out. So now that I've got that, let me just put my patterns back. So now we got to make the skull. What's our time at here? Almost 11. I spent too long yakking. So thankfully, like I said before, I've already cut out some mouth plates. I always do these in batches. So there are our mouth plates already done. We've got to cut out the foam for the skull. So we need some inch for this, half inch for this. So pardon my camera absence. I gotta grab some inch thick foam over here. It's buried under a bunch of stuff, of course. I am now covered in fur. Welcome to my world. So, one of the problems with foam is when you store it, it all curls up like this. The way to deal with that, hair dryer. Oh, something just fell over. Oh, my entire power brick just fell over. Excuse me. I hope they don't turn anything off that shouldn't be turned off. Am I still getting Mike? Can you still hear me? That's one of the things that was on that power brick. Okay, it looks like you can. Okay, good. Oops. Again, small room, nothing, no. This is like working on the space station. There's just absolutely no room to move. So I got to hit this with a hair dryer for a while to uncurl it. Maybe we should switch to the this cam again. Yeah, my cabling is always a mess. I'm ashamed of it. I really need to do something about it, but I've got like 30 power bars in here. It's a gigantic horror show. One day I will. Even in the office with the Frankie Play stream set up, there's just cables, nests of cables everywhere. It's unprofessional, and I really need a producer. One day I'm going to sit down. Yeah, oh no, I bought like a ton of cable management systems, still in the box. You know, it's not a matter of not having the things; it's a matter of doing the things. Because to do it right, I wouldn't have to like unplug absolutely everything and replug absolutely everything. And boy, that's a big job. After I've got everything working, I always mark where the mouth is just so I know for sure. Yeah, I got a bunch of those neoprene sleeves actually. They do seem very handy. I've actually got one in here. It's like on the wall where the video switcher goes. The one time I actually did some cable management. For somebody who switches their setup around as much as I do, I really, really should spend the time. Okay, here we go. We are ready to cut this out now. I know for a fact this blade is very dull. I don't think we'll even get through this. Oh no, nope, nope, nope. Time for a new blade. Do, 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 do. Why am I humming the Cantina theme? All right, there we go. The Dorak's on Twitch now. The Dorak's got his own emote. So one of the goals with this build, Dorak has a bunch of, and I mean, Dorak, you let me know if this is something I should think about. I have thought about it already. Is that I don't want to make the redesign so different that all of your existing art is no longer appropriate, right? I want to make it so because Dorak's got a bunch of like pre-existing art and stingers and logos and stuff, and I want to make sure that you could still use those, right? Because I get what that's like. That's the goal. Whether I achieve that or not remains to be seen. That's really up for you to decide. I think this will probably be the only build stream I do this week. I mean, it's a Wednesday already, so the rest of like after today, after this bit, it's really all a matter of stitching, sewing. I guess razor blades are cheaper than X-Acto blades. No, actually, not at all. These are fairly expensive, but they do a much better job than X-Acto blades, and also they're long, right? So I can get this through an inch of foam, whereas an X-Acto blade, generally speaking, you have trouble and you're gonna have to hack at it. But no, these are Persona blades that I'm using, and they are kind of expensive actually, and you go through a lot of them. All right, okay. Well, I'm still gonna try not to veer too far from the existing Dorak canon, shall we say? Ooh, I almost caught myself there. But also, as we discussed, there is going to be some necessary and uh, aesthetic design changes. I'm feeling the need for that coffee, even though it's not afternoon yet. All right, it's always a bit of a chore to get through inch thick foam. So there's the top of the skull. We're going to put this safely aside. And I'll roll this back up. Oh, I forgot to go to the top cam. I should have gone to the top cam for that. My apologies. Yeah, well, you've seen enough of my work to know that whatever Dorak ends up being, it'll probably look okay, if I do say so myself. Forgive me, I bumped the camera at some point. Where did I put the bungee cord? There it is. I mean, my suspicion is at the end of this, Dorak's basically going to look like him and Frankie were from the same litter. So I also need some half inch. That should be enough. Thank you, Dorak. You don't have to say that just because we're in public. Here is our half inch. This is the mouth here. This would be much easier to cut. Thank you, Dorak. I appreciate that. Word of mouth, it counts for a lot. I get at least half of my business from referrals and repeat clients. And likewise, if there's ever a build that I can't do or don't have time to do, or for whatever reason, I always refer them to other builders that I know. It's a nice, friendly community like that. There we go. One Dorak skull. I gotta empty my garbage. It's overflowing. So now what we have to do is just basically join all these together. Before I do that, actually, let me do a bit of housework first. So this is going to be the inside of the skull. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Dorak. I know. I know. I don't want to get into it on stream, but I know. Believe me. Um, so this is going to be the inside of the skull. Now, since Dorak is going to have an eyebrow mech, barge time. Almost. We're almost there. I don't know if the mic on the mask is charged. We'll find out. One thing about the inch thick foam is that when you're building a skull like this, there's not a lot of room in the head, and you need a little bit of room to move around. For example, it's the middle finger. Forgive me. This is going to look like a rude gesture. I promise it's not. You need room for the middle finger to move the eyebrow mech. So I always cut like a channel in here just to give a place for your finger to go, because this is inch thick foam. This is quite thick, but it needs to be this thick to support, when you're pulling down on the eyebrow rig. So I just draw. I kind of go, well, let's do like about a half inch on either side. And I go up fairly far because I'm never quite sure how far, until you get the rig in, you're never quite sure how far you're going to go. But basically I cut a half inch channel. And again, just eyeballing that, right? When Puppet is angry, he swears inside his head. Yes. Um, make sure this is going to the same height. But this will just help give us a little place for the mech to do its business. So again, very carefully, and this is something I do have to focus on, otherwise I will cut myself. That little channel. How did I do? Yeah, pretty good. All right, so when this all goes together, we have some space for the finger to move in. We've been talking about this for the Frankie Play live streams, because everything I do I try to keep PG-13. That's just my choice. It's just the way that I like doing it. And of course, I'm an adult, so I've had to train myself to not swear, and I've got so used to it that I now have to consciously think in order to swear. And I like that. I like being at that place. It forces me to be more creative with my language. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying that, like, don't always rely on it, Because if your humor is relying on swearing, then you're just not funny. You have to be funny with swearing, not funny because of swearing, right? That's my little comedy advice. Look who's talking. Okay, so there we go. So there's our little, when this just goes together, this will be like a little channel in the middle, and then we'll give a place for the eyebrow rig to work. Ex-military cursing and foul language like second nature. Got the opposite problem to me, right? It's like you have to think to not. And this is the thing, like all the guys that I stream with, this is just there's no thought. It's not how they're not doing anything on purpose. It's just you get into language patterns, right? Yeah. No, I know. Believe me. And it's kind of funny. And that's why I always put like a language warning. Uh, oh, congratulations. We received 100 languages on Restream chat. Yay. Chat is chatting. Okay. It's barge time. I come up with new words for tired army. New words is good. Um, I'm trying to think what, you know what? Huh, aha. What I did, I didn't forget, but what I realized there was something missing, and what's missing is the finger loops. Very, very important for all puppets, but particularly ones with an eyebrow rig. So I make these ahead of time. These are just leather finger loops. So this is something that Dorak, you wouldn't normally see because the puppet will be closed, but this is what your finger loops look like. I have a chosen swear word. It's a swear word, yeah. Um, so what these always come out a little bit different, and the only way I can measure these is based on me. My hands are a little bit small, so if these are a little bit loose, that's usually about right. These are leather, so they'll stretch over time. So if these don't quite fit right to begin with, over time they should sort of conform to your particular physiology. So we want three of these. We want one for the index finger, one for the ring finger, and one for the thumb. So the thumb should be the biggest. So that's probably it right there. That seems all right. So this is how we want to do it. So we want to put these on the skull. There's a debate about what order to do these in. I lately have been putting the loops on after the skull is assembled, and that seems to be a little bit better. It seems to be like, because every single build is a little bit different, and so if you put the loops on after the skull is together, you're kind of adjusting them to the specific, rhythms, as it were, of this build. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put these loops on after. What I'll do, you know what? Even better, because this skull is in two pieces, I could put the skull together, then put the loops on the top, then put the loops on the bottom, then join the skull. That's the way to do this. Order of operations. I listen to a lot of math-based things lately, so. The other thing I want to do is just quickly draw a guide on the bottom jaw here for our 1/2 inch foam. The top jaw already has a guide for 1/2 inch, but not for 1 inch, so let me just quickly sketch that out. Is it as hotly debated as the order of making a cup of tea? Ah, well, it depends on who's talking. If you're listening to No Such Thing as a Fish, one of my favorite podcasts, that reminds me, we should have on the Discord server, which you all should join if you haven't already. I think most of the people here have. No worries, go be a daddy. Um, on the Discord server, join it. A and B, we should have like an audio suggestion channel for like music and podcasts and stuff like that. Anyway, no such thing as a fish, man. You don't want to get them talking about the order that you make a cup of tea in. I mean, that goes for people in the UK in general, but it is a hotly debated situation. Let me just take this off so I don't mistakenly follow the wrong guide. Yeah. Well, this is, getting back to the whole swearing thing, it's like I realized after a while, after I decided that I was only going to do PG stuff for the Oracle, I think, and this is just a personal opinion, but I think it forced me to be funnier because I couldn't lean on, adult language. So I had to actually write funny jokes. So I think just as a writing exercise, it's really helpful to do that. Then later, if you want to add in some sort of punctuation with swearing, by all means. But I think it's a very useful creative exercise to try being funny without swearing. Um, it's just helpful. It trains your brain in a different way. Um, yeah, okay, we are ready for the barge. I'm gonna hit the bag, water, sugar, milk. What if you use loose leaf, huh? Come on. Yeah, Humbledinger is good. I gotta close the door so the cats don't wander in. Get the gloves and the mask. And hopefully this mic is charged enough. And also a lot of it really depends on your delivery, right? Um, when you're doing the Frankie voice, it doesn't matter if you swear because you just know what he means. No, no. I have a draft excluder on the bottom of the door so the fumes don't get out into the apartment. So I was just setting that in place. I did walk out for a second, but then when I came back, it's okay. No panic. Yeah, okay, mask time. I'm gonna hit the mic on this. It's probably gonna sound weird for a minute. I hope it connects. Looks like it's connecting. Again, order of operations. Gloves first. When you left all the puppets in the movie like it was Toy Story. I have no doubt. Mike is able to just communicate off hand signals. Yeah. All right. Mask goes on. Hopefully you can understand me. There's two mics working right now, so we will see. It's going to sound muffled. There you go. Very fun. Now I'm COVID safe. Um, and then actually get the glue. Darth Kevin. Well, it's more Dane, right? Yeah, there we go. Barge time it is. I gotta decide how I want to do this. So I'm gonna join the two halves of the skull first. Um, actually, I'm gonna do the darts first. It doesn't really matter. I hope there's nothing I've forgotten. I haven't streamed in a while, so I'm a little bit distracted. I think this will be okay. Oh, sorry, that's way off stream or off screen. Yes, I'm brushing barge. I know some experts out there will chide me for that because you're supposed to stipple barge.
I found a nature color bark. Yeah, it's a bit like amber, but yeah, no, it's amber and like some gum that was been on the sidewalk for about 18 weeks. If you could marry those two, if that's what we made Jurassic Park out of. Imagine some nice music as I'm doing this. All right, you gonna hit it with a hairdryer? For the inch thick, I want to get it pretty dry because this stuff has a tendency to pull apart really easily. Less benzene. There's quite a lot of benzene in barge. You're right. Go. You can smell the benzene. You can. Barge has a very distinct odor, which you should not breathe in. Hence. Okay, now we're going to join the two halves. All right, hairdryer time again. And you use the darts as a guide for joining that. We want this nice and even. Looks good. Make sure we end on the flat. Here we go. And you see when this is all together, that channel kind of gets pushed together, but that's okay. There's still like a place for the mech to move, right? That's the important thing. And also that will open up once we get the mouth plate in there. There we go. There's the top of Dorak's skull. Now we make the jaw. So I think after the skull is all together, that's what I'm going to call it for the stream. Still want to do more today, but I also have other things to do. So, but this is the kind of stream we're going to be doing more often. Just whatever I happen to be doing in the shop. Gives me a reason to shave and put on a nice shirt. Yeah, exactly. What's the school of thought between brushing barge and stippling barge? Good question. I believe the thought is that it's more even if you stipple. I have not found that to be the case in my personal experience. I have found that it is easier to brush and your coverage is about the same. You just have to brush a little bit more. But barge is thick and gooey. And it tends to clump up no matter what you're doing. Again, personal preference largely, but I've never found that stippling works for me very well. Okay, so now that we've got that, eventually what's going to happen is this is going to get joined to this. But first, we should put the mouth plates on. Then, the finger loops. I've just realized I did not draw a center line on the other side of these. So I'm going to do that real quick. You always want your center lines. Me working fast, as always. No, everything I've heard says it's about evenness. Maybe I just don't have enough practice. Okay, so let's do the top first. We need this to be quite strong, so I'm probably going to do 2 coats on the bottom. Oops, that was the wrong end. Excuse me a minute. Yeah, actually, that's about what I'm about to do with this. I'm about to do a second coat. You always want to do a second coat on anything that's going to require a lot of strength, but you only do it on one side. You don't do it on both sides, and I'm not sure why. That's just the convention. I'm sure there's a reason. Two thin coats are always better than one thick one. You got to remember what barge is originally intended for was holding shoes together, which undergo a lot of stress and repeated pressures. So a lot of the kind of lore that's come over is from that. So I'm going to dry this completely. That's the other thing about two coats. You need to dry the one that you're going to do two coats on completely first. All right. Now another very thin coat. In general, people use too much barge. You want thin, even coats. That's the goal. You know, it's funny, when I got this chair, I felt that it was a little too small, but then I lost a whole bunch of weight and now it's perfect. Turns out there's fringe benefits to losing weight. One of them is your chair fits better. There we go. Are we are Doraking the skull. This is a new verb I just made up. All right, here we go. Skull is on. Now that channel got closed quite a bit, but we can open that up again. I'm not even sure you need it. You know, it's actually kind of nice that there's some resistance in there. So we'll see. I'll see once the rig gets made. These things are flexible. So there is the top of Dorak's skull. Hooray! And now for the bottom. What I am currently doing, I should change my status on Discord to currently Doraking. All right, we're going to do 2 coats on this. Sometimes I just got to hold things out of shot. It's just because I'm working. We're just working here. You want to know what is weird? Chewing gum with a ventilator on. It's a little weird. All right, here we go. Minty ventilation, exactly. There is Dorak's bottom jaw, although it looks a bit wonky, but we'll fix that in a moment. So now we got to put in the finger loops, and then we're going to join the 2 halves of the skull together. And then I can take off this freaking mask. Make sure that's all going to go together. Yep, looks good. Okay. So for the top, I want to make sure we get lots of room in here, or at least enough room to move. I, of course, didn't label these. Let me find the right ones again. All right, that's the thumb right there. TH for thumb. The other 2 don't matter. The other 2 are fine. So what I'm gonna do, uh, Dorak, are you still in chat? Let me know, because I actually have a question for you. Yeah, exactly.
Sticking this off for a second so I can talk clearly. Dorak, if you're around, let me know. Okay, I have a question. This is actually really convenient that you're here, so we can do this. When you put your hand together, right, in natural puppeteering pose, where is your thumb? Is your thumb between your index and your middle finger, or is your thumb right in the middle? That matters. We've talked about before. Most people, it's off to the side. It's between their index and middle finger. But some people, like 35% of the population or something, it's right in the middle, and that matters where you put the thumb loop. So now I get to ask the client right here, right now. You heard that? Looking at his hand, doing the motions. Yeah, exactly. Middle. See, there we go. Fantastic. Most people, it's off to the side. And that's where I always put it because that's where most people are. But if it's in the middle, where your thumb is forced to sit really matters. Um, this is making poses to make sure. Yeah, just whatever's comfortable. However, when you close your hand, how does it naturally want to lie? That's what we need to know. Middle is actually easier for construction, but off to the side is where most people, including myself, I put my hand together, you can see the thumb is right there, but it's not in the middle. But this is good information. I'll wait for a confirmation before putting glue on. Go back to the top again here. All right, so since we've got a center mark already, center is super easy, right? Because we could just put the center on the center and it's all good. Off to the side, we have to kind of eyeball where it's going to go. Because the middle finger is because I'm making two sweet hand gestures for ages. Well, yeah. I'm just gonna mark this so we know. See, this is good. I like this. I should get all my clients on chat. No, that would probably be a mistake. So, Dorak, let me know. We good? Middle? Now, it won't matter too much for this because of the way this is constructed. Again, this is why I spend a lot of time prototyping because this will move kind of side to side. So it's not going to be bad. Um, but it will be better if it's tailored to you. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, looks like that's going to be good. I got to get rid of this gum. Excuse me. All right, I think we're good for middle. So we're going to go for middle. It means the mask goes back on.
Okay. Putting the glue on. And again, we want to do 2 coats. And we want to make sure this dries really thoroughly before we do anything with it because this is one of the biggest stress points on any puppet. We'll do another thin coat. Yeah, so Fox and Wolf, for if you're just going to glue, the surface you're gluing onto really matters. That's one of the reasons I use wood. Because wood takes the glue really well because it's porous. A plastic, if you're using a plastic boat plate, that doesn't take it as well. So that really matters. Um, so just a little tip. All right, finger loops going in. We go. Finger loop is in. The other thing with contact cement is you have to make sure that you apply pressure. You have to like pinch it and squeeze it. That's what really locks the glue in. And then once you've done that, let it go, let it dry. Don't do anything with it. And if, particularly if you're using something like barge, that's going to be rock solid if you do that. It doesn't even matter what surface you're gluing onto. All right, there is the thumb loop in. So now this is where it gets a bit tight because you can see there really isn't enough room in here. Sometimes we have to trim. We want to make sure we leave a gap in the middle. Oh, that's going to be okay, actually. All right, this is where your index and ring finger go. I wish I could contribute to the wrestling chat, but I can't. Not a wrestling guy. I tried, believe me, I tried. In the 80s, I tried. Just never took. So you see what I'm doing is I'm actually putting them on my fingers as I'm laying them in. And hopefully that way, since most human beings are made kind of close, similar, that'll be comfortable for the performer. If I actually had Dorak here, I'd say, okay, put your fingers in this and let's see where they lie. But as it is, that seems pretty good. We got lots of room in there for the mech. So at the moment, this is what Dorak's skull looks like. And now we're about to join these together. So this is the final bit of barging. Separate Skull, my new heavy metal band. Saw them open for Belphegor. There's a Jamie reference. Because that would imply that we went to see Belphegor, and I guarantee you we did not go to see Belphegor. All right, this is going to be a bit fiddly. Let's see. I know it's off camera. I'm sorry. More important that I get the puppet built right than it gets to be on camera. All right, not bad. Not bad. Give it a little pinch to lock it in place. So, assessment time. Now, this is not going to bend correctly until the fabric is on it. So, don't panic. You know what? Actually, I can take the mask off now. Let me close this up. Those are done.
Oh, okay. Turn this mic off. There we go. If the mic sounded weird, now it should sound normal again. So, first thing I think is I may widen the opening a little bit. You always have to do alterations when it's all together. But there we go. Nice overbite. That overbite is real good. Here we go. One Dorak skull. Actually, that's really not bad at all. Since this is a completely new structure, I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out, but it's actually quite good. Okay, I like that. And we still got enough play that we can move the jaw around. But it always wants to default to the overbite, and that's important. So yeah, here we go. One Dorak skull. That actually looks pretty good. Good. I'm glad you like it, Dorak. Yeah, and the grips feel really good too. The grips are holding up. They're in the right place for me, so they're probably going to be at least close to the right place for you. And again, they're loose on me. They don't need to be super tight. It's just a matter of like when you open the jaw, you want to be able to like do this, right? You want to be able to drop the jaw, not flip the lid, right? So, as we have talked about before. All right. I think it's gonna do it for today. That was a good run. Now you see, like this looks small. It's gonna look a lot bigger when the fur goes on it, obviously, but this is still smaller than the existing Dorak, and also this is exactly the same size as Frankie. I can even show you here. Look at this. Speaking of Frankie, oh, let's get the troll down. There you go. Oh boy, it's not his most dignified moment, is it? Hey everyone, it's me. What are you do? What is it? Hey, look. What is that? Is that a? That's a skull. What are you doing with a skull? This guy's sick. So anyway, yeah, this mouse plate is exactly the same size as what's inside Frankie. So there you go. It's a disturbing thing. I don't want to see this anymore. I think we should end this stream now. I'm the producer. I say end this stream. I'm gonna hit the button. Improv. All right, everybody. I'm gonna break. Time for me to have a little snack and more coffee. I think that's important. So I'm going to do the eyebrow rig basic construction this afternoon. We'll just see how that works out. It's going to be pretty close to Frankie's here, but again, we're going to try and get a little more separation between the eyes. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to head out now. Have a good day and stay tuned to the socials and join the Discord. Links all over the place. Thank you. Have a good day. And the button on this stream